Nuvole Bianche. Now last time we finished up line 3 where we had the chords and figured out the rhythm of the right hand. We continue that same rhythm in lines 4 and 5, but now we have broken chords instead of chords, so the notes will be going one at a time instead. So let's take a look at line 4. You'll notice that it has actually the same notes as we had before in the chords. So for instance, in measure 3 of the second line, we had this chord, F to F, with a C in the middle. Well, now we're just going to use the same notes, but we're going to break it up. And the same pattern will continue with the next measure. It's the same D flat chord that we had, for instance, in the second or the last measure on the first line. We had a D flat to a D flat, and then with just the A flat in the middle. Now same notes, we just break it up. Now the only difference here is that in the second measure, fourth line, and the last measure of the fifth line, we end on a quarter note instead of another eighth note. So that's really the only difference. Same notes as we had in the chords before, they're just broken up, and in those two measures we end on a quarter note instead of another eighth note. So let's take a look at the right hand, starting on the first measure of line 4. So we start off with the E flat again. We've been using the E flat quite a bit of the bottom line of the right hand, and we just hold it with our thumb, and it's a dotted whole note, so it's just held for the entire measure. And then the right hand's doing our now familiar rhythm. So if we're going to put that all together, we'll have our F chord notes here, and we're going to add a little pedal, and it sounds like this. Okay, now the right hand stays where it's at for the second measure of the fourth line. Just the left hand is going to move down to that D flat chord, and we are going to separate the notes up. Again, the same rhythm, so it's going to go like this. Except, I just noticed there's no E flat for that measure, so it's even easier. Now we do, on the next measure, move the right hand just a tad. The E flat is back for the bottom line, but we're also going to be playing a D flat up here with our little finger. And it's an octave above, middle C. And then the left hand is going to move to our A flat chord that we have played before, for instance, in first measure of the second line. A flat to A flat with an E flat in the middle. We're breaking up the chords. So you'll notice the bottom line of the right hand playing its E flat has a couple of rests. There's an eighth rest, and then you have your quarter tied to a dotted quarter, another eighth rest, quarter tied to a dotted quarter, and then the eighth. So the easiest way to figure this out is probably to play the top line first. So that's going to sound like this. That same rhythm, just different notes. And so you'll notice you will not play that E flat for the first eighth count in the measure. You'll just play the D flat, and then the E flat will join in. So it'll go kind of along with the right hand. Watch how we do this. So yeah, just a couple of about 3 spots there where we lift that hand. So. This is the E flat chord in the left hand that we had in, for instance, the last measure of the third line. E flat to E flat with just your B flat in the middle. And then the right hand still has its E flat on the bottom line, but then you're going to be playing your C with the right hand. Same rhythm. Oh, sorry. So you might want to finger it with starting with your fourth finger, because you do go up to the D flat for one of the notes. Okay, and you'll notice that in this one, the top rhythm, the top melody, actually uses one of the E flats for part of its melody. So it kind of merges the two melodic lines right there on that note, and then the rest of it's just the E flat alone for the bottom melody of the right hand. So if we're going to play that, we're going to, together with both melody lines in the right hand, and then let's add the left hand to it with our E flat chord notes. Then we go back to the F chord notes, and we're just staying where we are with the right hand. We can keep the third finger on the B flat, we can keep the thumb on the E flat, and that same rhythm. And then you just add the E flat in the bottom, it's a dotted whole note, so we're going to hold it for the whole entire measure. Add the left hand. Now you may be wondering, if you're trying to use the sustain pedal to make the echoing sound, you may be wondering, how do I use that pedal? You will notice that if you hold it, just hold it down for the whole measure and you don't let up on it and then push it back down again, you'll get too much echo. I'll show you what it's like. That's a bit too much echo. So partway through the measure, you want to just let up on the sustain pedal quickly and then push it back down. And then the last measure of the first page, we're going to move our right hand down because the melodic line moves down. We're going to put our three finger on the G, and then we're going to the D flat chord that we had before in, say, the first measure of the third line. A D flat to D flat with a flat in the middle. And it's a very simple. Right hand just has the one melodic line, same rhythm. Now if we add the left hand in. Now there's the instance where we ended with the quarter note instead of the eighth note. And there you have the first page of Nuvole Bianche. Now, once you get the first page down really well, you could go on to the next page and you will see a lot of similarities to what we've done before. Feel free to mark in note names, you know, what type of notes do we have in the broken chords, see if the rhythms are exactly the same in the right hand. We do notice a few differences starting in the second line of the second page, but we'll address those in another part.